Brendan Rodgers has revealed the Celtic transfer blueprint in his latest press interview. We will, of course, go over this in today's video, whilst going over all the latest Celtic news from the last 24 hours. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Brendan Rodgers has played down talk of Yang Hyun-jun leaving Celtic after the winger scored in pre-season games against Newcastle and Ajax. The South Korean has been linked with moves to Norwich City and Legia Warsaw, and a fake AI-generated image of him in a Norwich kit added to the noise online before being exposed as false. Rodgers noted the wide options are already thin, with Nicholas Kuhn moving on, Jota ruled out until next year, and Marco Tilio reportedly set for a loan switch to Rapid Vienna. With no new winger signed so far and only 3 senior options out wide, Rodgers made it clear that Yang is staying put. The Celtic boss made no bones about it. With the current lack of depth, there's no chance of Yang being sold. He sees the player as an important part of the squad and wants to build quality around him. Rodgers was firm in his stance, saying now is not the time to lose a starting winger. Yang, he said, is in the team for a reason and remains a key part of Celtic's plans going into the new season. He said this: "It's always a challenge, I think, at a club like Celtic, whenever players have maybe been for a couple of seasons and they're not quite established, because then they want to go and play more. But certainly at this stage, where we're at within the squad, it's not something I can even entertain." You see, he's starting the games, and I see him as an important player for us in our squad, and once we can get the quality around him, then he'll be a good player for us. It's hard to say. At this moment in time, he's a starting winger for us, so we're not in a position to be moving him on. At this moment in time, it's not even in our thinking, really, Yang concluded. The talk around Yang shows the tricky spot Celtic are in out wide. Injuries and exits have left Rodgers with few options beyond his main 3 wingers. If another offer comes in for Yang, keeping him could depend on whether the club brings someone else in before the window shuts. Yang will no doubt feel the trust Rodgers has shown by starting him. That belief could help him kick on and keep delivering strong performances in the weeks ahead. His pre-season form makes it clear, as Rodgers sees it, that he should stay part of the squad. Celtic could still look to add a new wide player, but Rodgers' words show it needs to happen soon. Now for the main story. Brendan Rodgers has offered a revealing look at how Celtic approached the transfer market, speaking after his side's 5-1 defeat to Ajax in a pre-season friendly in Como. The result may have stung, but the Irishman used the opportunity to explain the structure behind the club's player recruitment. With the new season fast approaching, attention has turned sharply to who Celtic might bring in. Rodgers was clear about the way decisions are made and what his role is in shaping the squad. The emphasis, he says, is always on quality and suitability rather than just names. Rodgers' comments came at a time when some supporters are questioning the pace and ambition of the club's transfer activity. While Rodgers didn't single out individuals or targets, he was transparent about the process and the need to raise the level. It's a system built on collaboration, with scouting and analysis teams working behind the scenes before any potential signing reaches the manager's desk. He said this: "How it mostly works at most clubs is that you have a recruitment and analytical team that scour your markets to find the players that are suitable within your price range and, really importantly, have quality. They then get presented to you, and then it's whether the players I think are right for us. If they're not, then we've got to keep looking. If they are, then we've got to try and see if we can get the deal to get them in, and that's obviously the club who will then do that. But listen, Celtic, there are no secrets in it. There are no secrets. They will look to get the best deal for the club and get the best players in possible. My job is to coach and demand we get the highest level player we can if we want to keep developing," he concluded. Rodgers made it clear where his responsibilities end. He sets the standards and pushes the team, but it's up to the club to get the right players in. Celtic haven't quite clicked in transfer recruitment, and it's obvious the squad still needs work. The Irishman sounded like a man who knows what's needed and won't lower the bar. Now the focus shifts to those in charge of recruitment. They need to bring in players who can step in and make a difference right away. In other news, Brendan Rodgers and Celtic have confirmed the reason behind Yamada's sudden omission from the squad for Celtic's heavy 5-1 loss to Ajax on Thursday night. The Japanese striker, signed from Kawasaki Frontale in a £1.5 million deal, had initially been named on the bench in the build-up to the Como Cup tie. But minutes later, Celtic reposted their team sheet without his name. Yamada had even warmed up but never made the matchday list when play began. In his post-match remarks, Rodgers explained the omission was down to a UEFA registration oversight. He said this: "We were told he wasn't registered and couldn't play in the game. It was a UEFA game. We thought it would be through, so he obviously came with us and travelled. But then later on, an hour before the game, we were told he wasn't," the Celtic boss told the National. That transparency came amid a night to forget on the pitch as Ajax ran riot. Despite an early equaliser from Yang Hyun-jun, Celtic collapsed after the break, shipping 5 without reply in the end. Supporters had voiced concern on social media amid speculation over whether Yamada had been withdrawn due to injury, but Rodgers insisted there was no knock. It was purely down to UEFA, which begs the question, having signed last week, what was the hold-up? Was it Celtic's hesitance or UEFA's? Since joining, Yamada has become the latest in a growing group of Japanese players at Parkhead, joining Reo Hatate, Daisen Maeda and Hayato Inamura. Rodgers described him as strong, athletic and someone capable of scoring and creating goals, adding needed firepower following departures of Kyogo back in January. Celtic fans will be hoping this administrative hiccup doesn't recur. With preseason nearing its end, Rodgers has one last test before the competitive season begins, a third-place playoff against Al Ahly. Whether Yamada will take his place then remains uncertain. Lastly, any signs of early summer progress were swept away in Como as Celtic suffered a chastening 5-1 defeat to Ajax that laid bare a host of shortcomings with the new season looming. The Dutch side sliced through Brendan Rodgers' side with alarming ease, turning the second half into a training ground exercise. While these games are often treated as fitness tests more than football contests, Celtic's lack of structure and composure on the night couldn't be ignored. Ajax were sharper from the outset, but it wasn't until the 16th minute that they took the lead. Celtic responded quickly through Yang Hyun-jun, who finished well to level. That, however, was as good as it got. The match unravelled rapidly after the interval. Within 2 minutes of the restart, Celtic were behind again. The damage escalated quickly. Ajax netted twice more before the 70-minute mark and capped things off with a 5th late on. Each goal seemed to peel back another layer of fragility, particularly on Celtic's right flank, where the Dutch side continually found joy. Rodgers used the second half to rotate his squad, but to little effect. The team lacked control in midfield and was repeatedly overrun with little resistance or recovery play on show. Amid the wreckage, Cameron Carter-Vickers got back on the pitch for the first time this summer, a rare positive in an otherwise grim outing. His return offered a glimpse of stability, but his presence alone won't fix the broader issues that have emerged. With just one friendly remaining against Al Ahly on Saturday, the chance to find rhythm before the SPFL opener against St Mirren is shrinking fast. The transfer window has seen Benjamin Nygren and Kieran Tierney arrive, but departures, including Nicholas Kuhn and Greg Taylor, have left gaps that haven't yet been filled. The lack of available wingers, with Jota also out injured, is a real concern. This isn't a time for panic, but it is a wake-up call. The summer rebuild is incomplete, and if Celtic are to avoid another frustrating European campaign, decisive action is needed, and soon. What are your thoughts on these? Let us know down in the comment section below. Make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content.